If you could introduce yourself and tell us why you're here today.
Yeah, so I'm Barry Taylor, and I've been working in the field of suicide prevention for the last 30 years at the local and national level, but also at the international level, and I've spent a lot of time overseas and recently returned back to New Zealand. And I suppose I've come with a kind of a mission in a way, is that I've come back and dismayed to realise that men are still the major group killing themselves in this country, and we've not really seen any improvement. And as a health sociologist, I've been particularly interested about why is it that men are overrepresented in suicide statistics. What is it that men are feeling that they want to kill themselves? And I suppose what I want to say is that what we have to do is get serious. It's time to take men's depression and suicide out of the too hard basket and actually really address it in a very serious, coordinated way.
The latest draft plan from the Ministry of Health on mental health and addressing that in New Zealand, I understand you have some strong feelings and words on that?
Well, what I think has happened is it was the strategy which the department said was a new and innovative strategy fails to even recognise, like it mentions men in it, but in terms of the priority populations, it actually doesn't name men as a priority population, yet they are the largest group that are killing themselves at all age levels, but also at different levels. So they identify, for instance, Māori and Pacific Island as priority groups, but it's not Pacific Islanders generally, it's young Pacific Island men, it's Māori men that are killing themselves, it is refugee men that are killing themselves. And so let's actually talk about the specific group and target strategies for the group. Suicide is not a universal problem. It would be like if, for instance, we tried to tackle cervical cancer and did programs for men. It's not targeting the group that's most at risk.
Is there a commonality of approach for remedies for men that are depressed and or suicidal?
Well, I think what is happening, and particularly in the last 10 years, it's not just been speculation, but we've seen internationally a whole range of focus, research, talking about this, and actually some very good both theoretical but practical programs that are being shown to be effective working with men and around the world. And I think what we need to do is learn from that and take from that and present coordinated responses to suicide. But what I think we need to do is not just take it from a psychological or from a psychiatric perspective, but we need to look at the sociological, is what has happened to men in the last 30 years. So what we hear when I'm working with suicidal men is that men are lonely, men feel disabled, they feel fearful, they're uncertain. And so what is happening is, and devalued. And so in that space, therefore, they're feeling, well, what's the point of going on? And so we're hearing a greater level of depression, greater level of intense sadness and despair.
With TaylorMade, you're developing programs specifically aimed at dealing with these.
Yeah, so at the moment what I'm doing is going around the country and just highlighting, trying to start that conversation of getting people to think about what actually are the specific issues for men so we can start to come up with programs. But what I'm interested in doing and started to have conversations is with a range of organisations is that we start a movement, a national coordinated approach, and it's a coalition of the willing, as it were, that we bring together a range of people and say, what do we need to increase well men and to support well men? And what I say is that well men contribute to well families, to well communities, to well whānau, to well workplaces, to well economies, and to well societies. Just as unwell men also contribute to unwell worlds and unwell families.
Is this a modification of treatment paradigms at the moment, or do you think that this is a global shift? Yeah.
Well, I think it's not about. It's not. See, the problem is what we keep on doing is we treat the individual deficiency. What we move into is an unhelpful model, because it's all about band-aid work unless we're addressing the underlying issue. So we can say go out and get help, but if we're not addressing the issue of staunch stoicism that says I've got to be strong, you know, I should be able to handle this. If I can't, I'm weak. If we don't address that, then we're just constantly going to be battling against the real issues.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to say about it?
I suppose what I want to say is, in the end, is we need to actually start to affirm men as positive situations, that we need to get men feeling that they have something to contribute to the world, that they're not, as it were, dispensable or disposable.
Okay. Hey, thank you very much.
Pleasure.